We never talk about inappropriate things on this show.
Never.
You sit on a throne of lies.
on screen or off, or on record or off recorded. We're never inappropriate.
It's time for Bourbon with Friends, the bourbon podcast that never takes itself too seriously. Pull up a chair, grab a glass, and remember, a bourbon with friends can change the world. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bourbon with Friends. Myself, Jerm and Joe. We're here to talk about whiskeys from around the world and how a bourbon with friends can change the world. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? Yeah, that's all I got.
Good. Yeah, weekend was good. I spent a lot of it sitting in front of an editor, getting ready for the show.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Makes sense. What about you?
Which show?
Yeah.
Which?
The new season of Boys. No.
Okay.
My show, Joe. My show. The Blind Sample Showdown.
Yes, season 3.
Season 3 coming at you Wednesday.
Woo.
Starts on Wednesday.
Yeah, my weekend, Friday had a wedding. Saturday we celebrated my son's birthday. And Sunday, don't remember what I did on Sunday.
What'd your son turn? 70?
Ha ha ha. No, 26.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. My birthday's tomorrow.
Oh, well, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
What Joe said, yeah. What are you going to burn down for that?
I was just going to say, I think I'm going to go, burn some stuff down and light some shit on fire and have a hell of a good time.
Well, you are a pyro, so I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if you helped out with some of these fires that are around my area in Maker, Colorado.
I have a solid alibi for all of it.
Yeah, that's what all of them say. But with burning down, everybody knows there's a few burnt things that happen in whiskey. You have to burn the barrels or toast the barrels, but there's also a cool place that just came out and that who we're going to be talking to today called Burnt Tavern Bourbon. Right? Am I wrong? You guys look so excited about this.
No, we were wondering where you're going. That's all.
Talking to kids. Let's bring in Bennett and Royce from Burnt Tavern. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Good.
Wonderful.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We're brand new to the bourbon market as of about 43 days ago, if I'm counting correctly, and excited to be with you to talk about Burnt Tavern, a place that stood from the 1790s into the 1900s here in Kentucky, in Garrard County, Kentucky. A place we discovered, purchased a farm and learned all of this history, and we're excited to share that with you and how we connected our liquid to this story and brought a bourbon to life in honor of Burnt Tavern.
Excellent.
Awesome. So, Bennett and Royce, whoever wants to start off first, we'd like to hear a little background about yourselves, maybe not pertaining to the whiskey, but leading up to that point. So if you want to go ahead and give us a little intro about each one of you.
Yeah, sure. My name is Bennett Clark. I'm originally from Danville, Kentucky, which is right in the middle of the state. I been living in Central Kentucky my whole life, and probably in the past 10 years or so, bourbon has really just kind of become a bigger and bigger interest of mine, so much so that I kind of sought after a new profession, so to speak. So got into the business a couple of years ago, and then had this opportunity to jump on board with Burnt Tavern, and really just excited to get it to this point. We've been working on it, the founders, for over 4 years, myself over 2 years, and so this is just something that hasn't been an overnight thing, but something we've worked very hard on, and really excited to get to this point.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Royce Blevins. I'm Central Kentuckian as well, born and raised here in Lexington. And been in management all my career. Worked in the horse industry, and then I work for Yum Brands, which is the parent company for Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC. I'm in management there, and also do a little bit of NCAA officiating for NCAA Women Division I. I'm getting ready to get fired up into my basketball season. But along the way and along the journey, I have some friends that are in the industry, and then our founding group found out the history of this place that is Burnt Tavern and about the William Berkeley Distillery. And we decided we wanted to get into the bourbon industry and create a bourbon brand and see what would it take to bring a bourbon to life. The story is so rich in history, and we really got excited about all the history, and then the industry itself is kind of morphed in a way that it's helpful to brands that are sourcing our bourbon to start and working, in the wholesale market. So the timing has really worked out for us, and the first month has been outstanding, and we're excited to bring this bourbon to the market.
Awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
I think we're all excited to get going with this and try to taste it a little bit. I know, Jerm, I think you jumped into it a little bit already.
I did dabble into it a little bit. Yep.
The nose on this is absolutely amazing, so I could say that. And I think, Jerm, you'll agree with that. It has a great nose.
It does have an excellent nose.
Just so you understand exactly where we're coming from, the tavern burned twice, survived both fires, and we wanted to tie the liquid to the story. And as we started developing it, we needed someone that could help us do that, and Chip Tate is the person we found. And he founded Balcones and has a wood finishing expertise that I believe is second to none. And he really, as we started to study the market, like where could we fit in the market without being just another bourbon in a bottle and putting a bourbon on the shelf as quickly as we possibly could, we wanted to tie that twice burned and reborn story to our liquid. So the nose does have a little bit of a whisper of smoke, we like to say, and sometimes that hits you on the back end of the palate. But I thought he's done an excellent job of getting the liquid tied to the story, so you can envision with every pour we could tell you a story about Burnt Tavern.
Mm-hmm. And really, when we started this process with Chip, we started with a very wide scope, and quickly realized that we were aligned in our thoughts of where to take it. And again, this wasn't an overnight thing. This took us about 18 months to really hone in and develop. But after we did that brainstorming session and really started to dive in on what we wanted to accomplish, he quickly was able to say, I've got something here that I think that we can do that really marries in and ties to the story of a twice toasted secondary finished product. So really happy with what he came out with. For me, I think it's very complex. It also kind of changes and dances around some for me. So each time I go back, it's almost like Royce says, a little different story each time.
Excellent. So as far as the tavern is concerned, is there any piece of the tavern still standing?
There is not, but we have discovered artifacts, archaeological, a lot of digging and probing around the property, if you will. We found some barrel rings, some different indications of where the distillery may have stood. There is a cemetery on the property that is home to some of the Smith family, and owners past them as well. So the property has the original spring from William Berkeley's distillery that's still flowing today, that we hope to utilize in the future. And there was a schoolhouse on the property. We've uncovered some of the remnants of that schoolhouse, one-room schoolhouse, and then, like I said, artifacts from the family. We have one of the original logs from the log cabin that was actually signed by one of the family members, one of the Smith family daughters or granddaughters, had carved her name into the log and dated it. And we have that in our possession. So
That's
just
very cool.
as we move along, we're continuing to uncover all of these things in the little community that is and was Burnt Tavern, that is Bryanttsville, Kentucky, as it sits today.
Wow.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Still, like we're looking for the latrine, if that makes sense. Because everybody threw bottles in the daggone outhouse back then in the tavern, and finding out like, okay, what we found medicinal bottles. We have an old Berkeley bottle that was for medicinal purposes only, an empty one that we have found. There is a William Berkeley bottle at the Bardstown Bourbon Company in their
Bourbon
library, yes, that is from 1914, and it's a 10-year-old actually. It was bottled in 1914, and I guess it was available in 1924 for medicinal purposes only. We've not been able to put that in our possession just yet. We're talking with them about maybe trying to get a hold of that a little bit, maybe do some reverse engineering, but there is a bottle of Berkeley's that exists.
Excellent. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to maybe try to understand this a bit better. So someone of your group bought that property and then found out the history and then decided, oh, let's go into that business?
A little bit.
Correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, Kentucky's so deeply passionate about its traditions that when a story like this is unearthed, we feel like it's our duty that you can't let it just fade into the past. And so when three of our founders purchased this property and were approached and said, hey, there's could be a lot of history tied into this. And so the further they looked into it, the more things came to light. And then a friend within the industry said, you guys, this is what stories and brands are built on, and you have to run with this. So really for us, I mean, the story goes back even further. It was in 1779, the Smith family came into Kentucky, what was Kentucky, the wilderness, for the first time. And back then, the Commonwealth of Virginia would issue a land warrant up to 1,000 acres if you established a cabin or built a settlement. And so James Smith, who was a minister, did that. And so we have the land warrant from March 14th, 1780. And so at that point, Smith was granted 400 acres. The tavern was then built in 1794, burned down the first time, and then rebuilt in 1798. We know that they were making whiskey there because he had advertised 2 stills for sale around 1796 or 7, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then 80 years later, William Berkeley was the sutler of Camp Nelson, which was the Civil War encampment about 3 or 4 miles north of this property. He knew about the Happening Roadhouse, bought it, and built his distillery there and another site maybe 10 minutes down the road. There was an archaeological survey done at Camp Nelson where Berkeley was the sutler during the Civil War, and they found at the back of the sutler store a high concentration of glassware, smoking devices, bottles, indicating maybe one of the first speakeasies in the area. So Berkeley then founded his distillery in 1868 on that same land down the road. So it's really the flagship product is Burnt Tavern Bourbon, and we're paying homage to that originating story in the Smith family. But as we go through this really opens the door for us to do a lot of unique expressions and other lines that we can come out with that tie into things that we haven't even mentioned, like Zane's Trace, which was the original stagecoach stop that this roadhouse was on, like E.H. Chase, a gentleman that leased Berkeley's distillery and ran his own operation for a while. Rosenthal and Sons out of Cincinnati purchased the Berkeley distillery at some point. So really, it's just for us, we're historians, we're the orators of this story, and it so happens that it comes along with being in the bourbon business.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
The history there is just, it's rich, just rich. And the fact that you have things that go back so far. I mean,
It is truly
you're
So-
almost 300 years back with some of those artifacts, you know? And
right.
That's wild.
It's John Orr is another is one of our founders, and really the person that has put in all of the sweat of finding, the history and just digging into libraries and newspapers and so forth. He traced the lineage of William Berkeley and found one of William Berkeley's descendants, and this gentleman was in Florida and happened to have the family silver. So he's given it to us, basically donated it to us. There are the family silver with William Berkeley's etched signature in these spoons. It's phenomenal when you see it. It's like, you are touching history.
Absolutely.
Of the Berkeley family. So
Cool.
really cool there. Our connection to Texas with Chip. The first governor of the territory of Texas was raised at Burnt Tavern, Henry Smith, son of James Smith. So he was raised at Burnt Tavern, went into Texas, as a lot of people from Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, they went to Texas and helped fight for independence. He was one of the first to go help fight for Texas independence and became the first governor of the territory of Texas, and has a picture in the State House in Austin. So the connection to Texas runs deep, which gives us an avenue into a market potentially in the future. And like Bennett was saying, different releases, different plays on a Berkeley Reserve or a Zane's Trace single barrel or a William Berkeley Reserve, single barrel, whatever. There are a lot of threads to pull on as it comes to the history and potential different products and expressions.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, talking about products and expressions, why don't we talk a little bit about this, what we're drinking right now? If you can, go over the mash bill, where it was distilled. Because do you guys have your own distillery or no?
Not yet. We'll
No.
build, in the next couple of years. We obviously do want to build a craft distillery, but I think the wise thing to do right now is to take your time, get the aspects of the business built that really can stand behind the product, and worry about the on-site stuff here in the next few years.
Sure.
So it's a 7-year-old product sourced from here in Kentucky. We then take the 7-year and are doing a secondary finish on it. They are in charred barrels, 2 different profiles. Won't get too specific on what Chip is doing with that, but really kind of the layman term would be, bringing in that oaky, smoky notes kind of in one, and then really bringing in the sweet, the caramels, burnt sugars, vanilla kind of from the other, and marrying those together.
This is 70-21-9 is the mash bill. 70 corn, 21 rye, 9 malted barley. That's like Bennett said, sourced from a very, very well-known, reputable Kentucky distillery. We wanted everything to be Kentucky-based. The story is such a Kentucky story. We wanted the connection with Texas, and not only Chip's expertise, but then having that connection as well really drew us in, and we thought that would be a good fit, for our brand. And the really being like a frontier, one of the very first frontier locations. Burnt Tavern was the new frontier as it related to coming from the colonies out, west to Kentucky, being the first new west, if you will. So really trying to tie that story, liquid to the story, was really our motivation, trying to set us apart. With the whisper of smoke, that is something we trademarked. It's something that we feel like fits the brand. It is bourbon with a whisper of smoke.
Sure.
That's
So
awesome.
as you you guys came up with this idea. Let's do this bourbon company. Was Chip Tate in the cards from the get-go, or was like the company like, I want to do this bourbon company, Burnt Tavern, and then brought Chip Tate in after the fact?
Yeah, we brought in Chip after the fact.
Okay.
You know, we really had amassed a nice little team. Tara Labanovich is our brand designer and director, and she's an industry expert who came from Brown-Forman at one point, went out on her own, responsible for the redesign of Captain Morgan, Smirnoff, Early Times, some other Havana Club. And she had some pretty good feelers out there for other people to bring onto our team. And we did speak with a couple different people before, you know, really feeling comfortable with somebody. And we went through a session in which we really nailed down what we wanted the liquid to look like. And after that discussion, it was like, well, who's the premier wood finisher in the United States? Let's find that guy. And his name came up, and it just all fit in after we met with him, and he dug into it, into the story, and really was the one that kind of excited us about the fact that he's like, I've got some really good ideas for this. So
Something to make it different, a little bit different. The Whisper of Smoke that we spoke about. Isla Byrne is another one of our consultants that is a market analyst and really guided and advised us not to be just another bourbon on the shelf. You know, do something that will set you apart. The 105 proof, the 7-year-old Whisper of Smoke, those things are differentiators for us that we feel like makes us sets us apart from just another bourbon brand. To Bennett's point about Tara, you know, the bottle itself, if you look at the label, it tells the story. Her design and artistry, it walks all around the bottle to tell you the story of Burnt Tavern, some of the folks that stayed there, and some of the history of the stagecoach route and the like. So really awesome design.
And you kind of touched on what was going to be a follow-up question to that question was, I'm sure, and I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing that as you're starting this company, there's some nerves. There's some, is this going to work out? Is this going to be okay? Or you know, is everything going to work out? When you guys settled on Chip Tate and he had those great ideas and he said what he said to you, did that calm some of those nerves and make you feel like you're making the right choice here?
I'll tell you, Jerm, this is something, I'll tell you how this kind of manifested and what calmed our nerves. Okay. Whenever we started, we got the design going. Tara was, we hired her as a third party, and she started developing this. She lived in Norway. Her husband travels, works abroad. She lives in Rome now, but she's from Ohio. She flew in and wanted to come and meet us, you know, for lunch. We met for lunch, talked a little bit of strategy. She left. The next day, she contacted us and wanted to be an equity partner. Okay. That was a huge win for us. And we absolutely took her up on that. Okay.
it's unexpected.
So it was not expected. It was, you know, very much unexpected. So then once we worked our way to Chip, and Chip starts getting involved, and we start developing this, and he sees what's going on, he approaches us and wants to be an equity partner in our business. So if you can talk about calming nerves, you have two industry heavyweights that's hear the story, believe in the story, believe in us as leaders that want to be involved. Yes, it calmed our nerves. Not that we don't have nerves now. We do. We're not. We're at the starting gate. We got 43 days in, but you know, so far so good. And to have those folks behind us, believing in it, yes, I think we believe we are on to something fantastic, and we can't wait to share it not only with bourbon lovers, history lovers, you know, the people in Kentucky and outside of Kentucky that love Kentucky bourbon. Once they dig into this, we believe, you know, if we can get them to try it, we believe that we'll have a fan.
Excellent.
One of the things that happened with chips specifically that really kind of put the nail in it for me, a little different. We were looking at a wide variety of mash bills, different ages, different things. And independently, the three of us went through all this stuff, and we all came back and we all picked one out of like 60. That was our top foundational thing to work from.
The 70-21-9 mash bill, the age, it was like when we got together via Zoom, sat down, each pulled out our samples. Here's my top 3. Here's my top 1. And it was like, holy shit.
Yeah. We
all like the same thing.
We had 3. We had 3 out of the top 5 out of all these different ones. We all picked the one to start with. And the more we spoke about it and the reason why we wanted to do this, there's different things, but some mash bills are more receptive to certain processes than others, different things like that. And so to really come together, that's what kind of made me feel good about it. And so I've seen this from the very bare bones where, you're trying a bunch of different mash bills, but you're also seeing the evolution of, this is the finished product, but to take it back 5 steps, take it back 5 more steps from that. And, going through the different aging aspects of it and really, there's a couple times where we went over and we were like, okay, pull that back a little bit, so it was kind of a fun project. It was good homework.
The foundational piece that we ended up with was very good bourbon on its own. It was like, this is good bourbon. And then now, Chip's put his fingerprints on it. And I think it's an excellent product. I'm biased, of course. And you guys, I'd love to hear what you think of how it finishes and, the nose, hit some notes that you like, but how does it taste to you?
Well, for me, I definitely love the proof. Usually with a lot of new brands, you're getting 80 to maybe 90 proof because they're scared to give something to the consumer that's high proof because they're just scared of it, But for me, I'm happy that it's at a higher proof. I could taste more of the spice. I could taste a lot of the barrel. The nose, like you said, is amazing. I mean, to be honest, the only thing that's lacking for me is the finish. I would like a little bit longer of a finish. Something that's gonna, after that sip, I want it to be able to still taste something maybe about another minute after that, where this one seems to gradually go away a little bit quicker than my personal preference. But other than that,
You just got to drink more of it, Joe. That's all. You just got to.
I'm already
on it, right?
I'm already done.
I'm going to review it, and he timed his finish. He was like, the finish lasted for him 2 minutes and 13 seconds or something like that. I was like, okay, you're getting down in the nitty gritty here. If you're putting a stopwatch on it, on how it's finishing for you, to me, it depends on when I drink it. Sometimes when I have a taste neat, in the evening, it might last a little longer. Tonight, I'm like you, Joe. I'm sitting here sipping on it.
Yeah,
it's going down a little bit
quick,
a little quicker, a little smoother.
It is very whiskey in general is very temperamental, so to speak. I mean, depending on what you ate, what time of the day it is, how you're feeling, what you were talking about earlier. I mean, there's all kinds of things that affect how that hits you today.
Mm-hmm.
And it may hit you at 9 a.m. It may hit you slightly different or greatly different than it does at 5 p.m.
That's a good point.
On the same day. So for me, this nose is absolutely gorgeous. There is some very prominent burnt orange peel. There's some very prominent coconut. There is definitely that whisper of smoke in there. And it's not smoke like when you smell smoke like a burnt fire, but it's charred wood, old charred wood. Maybe it was the wood was burnt yesterday and you're smelling it today. That's the kind of whisper of smoke that's in it, and it's very inviting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We did not want to get into a peaty, overbearing smoke, anything like that. It's just the hint and the whisper. And I think that goes to Chip's expertise. He's a mezcal tequila. He is American single malt considered the godfather of the American single malt in a lot of circles, because that's, was his expertise. And then they just got ratified as a category here, over the last year. But he really was messing around with that, 10 years ago, and getting that going. I think Balcones now, that's all they're producing. They've shut down all of their Texas whiskey stuff, and
Well, they shut down other stuff too.
They just shut everything down now. But
well, Diageo, I guess, had decided to just shut them down or whatnot.
yeah, so that this is a question that I like to ask people, and since you brought this up, I probably wasn't going to ask this one. As a brand, you've put your heart and soul into this brand. And let's say 4 years from now, somebody comes along, big company comes along and offers you a very nice sum of money for the company. Where do you sit with that? Is that like an ultimate goal, or is that like no, this is my passion project and I want to keep this. This is mine.
This is it's a dilemma that our founders discuss frequently, or not as frequently now, because we're knee deep and passionate about driving this business and being successful. But it is something that we're very aware could happen, because if we do things the right way, obviously it may be attractive to folks. Our goal is to build back the Burnt Tavern on the spot where Burnt Tavern existed, to create a craft distillery that Chip Tate will help us build on a small scale. It's not going to be a contract, huge distilling operation that you see failing on, the weekly around here in Kentucky. There are several that have sunk a lot of money into things, and they're closing the doors or getting in, put into receivership. So it is not our number one goal, Jerm, to just like, okay, we're going to build this brand and hope that somebody comes along and offers us this. No, our goal is to do it the right way, to build this site. The property sits on a 4-lane highway. It's in the heart of central Kentucky. It's the heart of where Kentucky was founded. And we believe that if we can put the right pieces in place, it'll be a great destination, a revenue generator. It will build a healthy, thriving business that will take this brand national outside of Kentucky within, about 3 years is what we're hoping. That's our goal, is 2 to 3 years to really like hit other markets. We want to build it here in Kentucky, have a little DTC business as well, where folks can get their hands on it, through the internet. But if you want it retail or in a bar or restaurant, it's going to be in Kentucky for some time until we can build our fan base.
DTC would be a wonderful thing, and I would love to lead the charge on getting DTC to be a normalized thing, because it's
becoming more prevalent.
It is slowly getting there to be a little bit more prevalent. Certain places obviously still are nope, can't do it. Certain states are nope, can't do it. All kinds of that kind of stuff. But I think it's something that would help everybody across the board in the industry.
Yeah, it definitely helps us right now. You got to get started somewhere, and
margins are great. DTC.
Yeah, they're better than working through your local stuff.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah,
people involved. But really, that's a great question. You build something to be the legacy distillery. You build it for the founders. You build it for the founders' family. You build it for all the people that are knee deep in it, blood, sweat, and tears. And then, if somebody comes along, I think you'd be foolish not to listen. But the origination of this is very much to bring back the past and keep it. But again, you're always open to see what happens.
So I'm in northern Wisconsin, and there's a saying here: if you own a bar, it's always 100% for sale. There's never any point in time that it's not for sale. It just depends on who's asking the question.
And how much they're offering.
Right. I like to hear that about we have these goals and this is our plan, and it's more of a long-term plan than it is a let's build fast, let's get recognition. Let's, and dump it per se.
We're really trying to learn from the others around us. I mean, there's some people that are doing. There's been a lot of negative press. There should be a lot more press about all the good things that are happening. This past month in Kentucky has been a celebration of festivals, of blowout. Bourbon is not going anywhere.
No.
Anywhere.
It made it through the vodka craze of the 80s and 90s. I think we're going to be all right. Right.
So, and especially from a Kentuckian standpoint, tourism is really becoming a big thing here. And so for us to have that historical tie to a place that was a location that people could come, stay, and then go on their way later, for us to recreate that, and for you, Joe, maybe the Napification of the Bourbon Trail, so that stay and play option is definitely something that we would look into down the road. Again, right now, very much brand focused marketing, getting that flagship and getting the recognition out there, soon to be followed by the on premise, the tourism, and just, again, learning from those who came before us. It's very helpful industry. You can talk to a load of people and they're going to give you pretty good advice, what to avoid, what could you go back and change if you had to do it over again 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And so we did kind of come in at an interesting time, especially from our seat, but it's been good.
Yeah. Looking at some of the local small distilleries like Castle and Key. Are you familiar with Castle and Key?
Yes.
And their site, they took the old E.H. Taylor distillery and recreated it, and have you been there? Have you visited? It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Small campus, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Very popular place along the trail. But doing something on that kind of scale, Bluegrass Distillers is another one in Midway, Kentucky.
Okay.
Those guys, Ben Franzini, Sam Rock, been great advisors, and just people we can talk to and bounce things off of as we got started. They've built a beautiful campus out in Midway on I believe it's called Elkwood Farm.
60 some odd acres.
Yeah, and they have a small distillery that they just opened their own. One of their regrets, they told us, was that we didn't source out of the gate. We were so proud of wanting it to be our product that we released a 2 or 3 year old whiskey just to get something on the market, and they regretted that, but they've rebounded, and they have great expressions and different, their brand is growing. They've done a great job. So just trying to find those folks. The industry's been fantastic, as you guys may know. I mean, people want to help you. People want to lend advice where they can. No one has put out a stop sign and it's like, no, we don't want to talk to you. Everyone's been very open. So really navigating it that way, and the team that we've put together with Tara, Chip, Isla, and so on has been fantastic. We've done it the right way. I will say that.
That's excellent.
Well, based off of everything sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. Go.
I was just going to say, based off of everything that you guys have said so far, it's almost rebuilding a history that's been burnt into a new beginning.
Yes. Twice burned and reborn.
Right.
That's one of our taglines. It is something that has definitely occurred. The place that would not succumb to fire. Fire did not put Burnt Tavern down. Progress and roads and our commerce put it down. But we've just rediscovered that history, and we're going to bring that back and bring it back where it's a respite for people to stop and have a drink.
Yeah. We've got a couple of sayings that we've been tossing around already. There's when life leaves you in embers, bottle it.
Yeah. All that's left are embers and whispers of smoke. Mm-hmm. So it's been fun. fun time that history into our bourbon.
So I know you guys are only 43 days into actually being in, out in the market. You guys have to already be start thinking about your next project. I would assume, correct?
Absolutely.
Anything like a rye coming out, or maybe a different type of bourbon, different mash bill?
Well, when we talk about this on our team calls with Chip, he puts the brakes on real quick. Like, whoa, we got this expression. This is what we're working on. This is what we're doing. But we're always picking his brain to try to. So yes, to answer your question, we are trying to decide exactly which route we'll go with our next expression, and how I think single barrels will be easy to do once with maybe a cast strength single barrel coming out in a small quantity. A rye, to your point, the 4 grain that Bennett mentioned because of the H chase and the history, maybe something down that path.
I was just gonna say, I think the method, now that I really understand exactly what he's been doing, this product lends itself to some nice spinoffs.
Yes.
There's some real flexibility in this that I think that we can play with. One of the pieces of advice that I took from somebody very early on was start with 1, don't put out 2. You're directly competing with yourself. Somebody comes up there and says, so you're trying to sell me this bottle, but this bottle also. So if this one's $10 more, is this one $10 better than that one? So you're already setting up that competition within yourself. But yeah, get it going. But this very much so lends itself to some nice evolutionary paths.
Yeah, I could see like a different type of finish on this one. I could see that there's some room for a finish of maybe some sort of wine cask or something that would be interesting with this. Maybe to bring out a little bit more sweetness. That might actually accentuate the smoke a little bit. I would think. That's
It's like a Cabernet. Nice Cabernet finish on this would actually be really good, just based off of everything that's going on. You're getting those dark cherry notes off of the Cabernet, and then mixed into it with that little bit of smoke. So
yeah,
out there for all our wine country folks.
I like that idea.
yeah,
and it's
I like that idea, Joe. That's nice.
I mean, well, that's the one thing
That's
one of the things I have. One of the qualms I have with a lot of Kentucky bourbons is they don't really do a lot of finishing on their stuff.
They're very traditional in their we're going to stay right here in these lanes. And
what's the only one that really does it is Peerless and
Peerless finishing.
Maybe does it.
1792 does some finishing, not a ton, but
cognac rum, just like basic.
Different ones. I mean,
Bardstown.
To do it. I mean, there's all the different Basil Hayden finishes.
Bardstown does play a lot. Yeah.
There are people out there playing, and some of the stuff that sticks. There's a another new and Artie one here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're doing some really good stuff.
Bobby's great.
They're Amburana, Brazilian Amburana. That one's tasty. It's almost like a dessert bourbon. Pretty good.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's what everyone says.
My joke is always you can put the bourbon in the Amburana barrel, go make a sandwich, come back and take it out because it's ready.
That's fast.
Super quick.
Yeah, that fast.
Yeah. But at the same time, you also don't want to be off-putting, so you get so weird and down a rabbit hole that
there is.
Well, there's so many rabbit holes you can jump down, like rabbit hole.
Yeah, literally. Now we wanted to, be traditional in several factors. So the secondary finishing aspect that we're doing it in the traditional method. We're not putting, cubes of oak, or daisy chain this or daisy chain that. This is going into new barrels, So we have a lot of faith in what Chip is doing, and I think the results have been as good or better than I was hoping, and we're proud of it. We're enjoying it from all different angles, and so we're definitely excited to see what the next steps are. But at the same time, it's our job to be methodical, make the decisions that we feel are best for our founders and our investors. If it were solely up to us two, who knows what would be going on. But we're trying to do our people right and make sure that everybody's interests are taken care of.
Yeah, I have to mention one of our founding members that is also one of our leaders and one of our managers of our business. Her name is Vicki Booth. She's our CFO and has helped drive this. She's also my mom. So this has been quite the adventure and journey to take with a non-bourbon drinking mom. So she completely was, she's a businesswoman of the nth degree. So she is not going to steer us wrong or let us do anything crazy. But getting her on board with the bourbon and watching her taste our product and actually say, okay, I can drink this. Okay, I like this. And become a convert of sorts, because she is not the drinking type, and not been pretty much a teetotaler, if you will. But she enjoyed the night sip, and I want to make sure to give her a call out, because she is a big part of what the story is and how this has happened. It's been quite cool. Bennett being involved with my mom and I, and the triumvirate that is the three of us, but he navigates it very well. And if you've ever worked with family, you know how that can be. But we get along great, and my mom's been fantastic, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give her credit tonight.
Well, cheers to mom.
Yeah, or else if you didn't, you'd get grounded tomorrow.
We'll get grounded tomorrow. That's right.
So one of the good things on the feedback that we've gone out and been very active doing tastings at the various spots that picked us up so far, and the female demographic has really been coming back to us and said, like, I'm not a bourbon drinker, but I really like this.
Yeah,
or so that's been coming at us a little bit unexpectedly from the female side, and that's great. So we want to keep that momentum going with them
for sure. And there are a lot of ladies that are experts in our industry. Peggy No Stevens and Susan Rigler, and some of those folks that are based here in Kentucky. We asked Susan or Peggy, I'm sorry, to taste it, give us her feedback and her tasting notes, and we were honored that she did that, and it absolutely struck the chord right down the line of what we were looking at. The whisper smoke, the burnt sugar, the caramel. I mean, she hit them. The cherries that you mentioned, she nailed all of those, right out of the gate. So we were honored to have her input.
Well, guys, I think there's one question we all like to ask at the very end of this podcast. It's, I believe, each one of our favorite questions, because it ties back into the history of you, actually, personally, both of you. It's, what was your favorite spirits memory growing up or currently that you've ever had with someone else or by yourself or just in general?
Yeah.
What memory hits you guys the most?
I can go back, 25 years, 30 years, to when I first became a drinker and, pursued bourbon. One of my first experiences was after a race at Keeneland, the Maker's Mark Mile, and winning that race as a bettor, and then having a pour of Maker's Mark on the rocks that night with a cigar to celebrate a small win at the tote. But as a young 20-something year old that didn't know crap, to be able to celebrate with that native spirit. And I look back at it now, it's like, I thought that was cool as hell back then. And now to think that I have a product that could be used in the same manner, that someone could have a nice pour to celebrate whatever the occasion is, with a cigar If it's your daughter's wedding, your graduation, your anniversary, whatever that occasion is, but to be able to put a premium bourbon on the market that somebody could sit and have a pour of on the rocks, neat, and say, hey, cheers, folks. This is the best of Kentucky. This is the best.
Excellent.
Am I supposed to top that? No, I can't. All right. One moment that stood out, probably right around, it was right before COVID hit. And my wife was working with a gentleman who founded what is now RD1. Before RD1, it was the William Tarr Distillery. And I was given the opportunity to come in as a part of the barrel investment program. And so that, even though that was, 5 years ago, that's what really whet my appetite from the business perspective of it. And seeing how they went through the process of, bringing on investors, a little bit different than how we've done it, and navigating to where they are now. They just recently finished their distillery. So I'm in no way tied to them anymore, but they were the ones that kind of brought on the business aspect of it for me, compared to just being a fan and a bourbon lover. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, that's both of you guys' stories are very unique about it, right? Helping build a brand to winning a race.
Hey, you win a race, and then we celebrate it with bourbon around here. That's where I was. I've never had it on my bingo card that I would bring a brand to life. I can tell you that. So that's been pretty cool. And like Bennett said, going, to all these events, festivals, tastings, meeting folks. Folks are so engaged and love a new story, a new brand. It's been awesome engaging with the community that is our bourbon world.
Some of these events we've worked, they're not the ponies racing, they're the people racing. So we've worked these bike races and I'm working a half marathon where it's the Urban Bourbon Marathon in Louisville Saturday. And nice. I can't imagine running a half marathon and here you go.
Bourbon right afterward. Yeah, no.
But yeah,
they're just going to get drunk faster. It's fine. It's better for you.
Speaking of events, did you participate or go to Kentucky Bourbon Festival, which was actually fairly recently, and it's a fairly large event. So
it hit us right at our launch.
Okay.
So yeah,
I was going to say it had to be really close to that.
Yeah,
we did some reciprocity, I guess you could say that. That was right. Literally September 1st was our launch. So we had a rep that came back the next week. It's like, I've placed 8 new accounts in Bardstown. I'm like, oh, great. Now we did Bourbon on the Banks in Frankfurt, and we did some other ones. We'll look to do Bourbon and Beyond next year.
Okay.
But some of these are just so massive for us right now that we don't want to get lost in the weeds.
Right.
You want to be recognized. Bourbon and Beyond, I'm not sure if you know that one, but it's just massive musical festival. And I went to it as an attendee this year, but maybe next year we'll have a little setup.
One piece that I'll mention about that is that our inventory is limited, I'll say. We started with 3,000 bottles. Okay, that was our first release, 3,000 bottles, 500 cases in Kentucky, and like I said, a little bit of DTC. We want to be careful not to get so big so quickly, and then people are wanting to buy some Burnt Tavern and they can't find it, which is not what we want to draw the line very close. We want people to set them in, but we don't want people to wait a long time to get it. That's
a very difficult thing, because it's like I want people to want me.
Yeah.
And the supply and demand thing, it's really nice to have the supply and demand thing going on in our favor. Sure. But at the same time, you don't want people to get discouraged either.
Yeah. Sure. It's like, how do you become one of these products that these guys here locally, they're lining up at 6 a.m. Saturday morning to get into a lottery, to buy 10 bottles.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nuts here. And so we're after that fanatic, but we're also after that, not so crazy person too. So this is a good place to be for us.
Good place to be.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I
That's
think you
good.
guys are doing it right.
Yes,
Thank
and congratulations on your new launch, and
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
definitely look
And-
forward to maybe talking to you next year to see where you guys are at and see what's down the road as well.
That would be very cool. A revisit a year later.
Yeah.
And if you're going to any of the conferences and stuff this upcoming year, let us know and we'll meet up in person.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
I think that sounds like the best plan.
Yeah, for sure. We can't thank you guys enough for having us. Really, truly, it means a lot to talk with you guys. As I said when we started, you over a pour, strangers become friends real quick.
Yep.
So,
Yes, definitely.
cheers to you guys. And I appreciate you having us.
Well, thank you guys so much for everything. All right,
Cheers to
everybody
you.
out there.
Thanks.
Remember, a bourbon with friends can change the world, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Thank you.
Everybody.
All right, guys, I want to thank our sponsor, 10th Mountain Whiskey. You can find them on all social media platforms, as well as 10thwhiskey.com. You can use the code BWF15 for a 15% discount. That's pretty cool. Get some money off, buy your friends something, buy your family something. If your friends like whiskey, if your family likes whiskey, you can buy them that. But if they don't, you can buy them a hat. We'd love for you to go there and check them out and buy their products. You can also find them in 42 different states through online distribution, as well as 30 states across the country through regular retail distribution, guys. That's pretty cool. And it's growing because, well, no, the distribution is growing. We're not getting more states. So basically, if you do have any questions, you can reach out to 10thwhiskey.com. They'll be happy to answer anything that you may have. And of course, we thank 10th Mountain Whiskey for being our sponsor on the podcast.
That's it for this episode of Bourbon with Friends. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a review to make it easier for others to find the show. You can also check us out on Instagram at BWF Podcast. Thanks for listening.